Play mode.
Hello, this is Christopher Allen and
Michael Allen.
And we're here to show you some of the latest developments on ZebraZapps PRO. I'll be taking questions kind of throughout our presentation here. We've got 45 minutes scheduled, and see that there are still lots of people still filing in, which is really exciting to see. If you have any questions during our presentation today, please feel free to ask them through the questions pane, and we'll do our best to mix them in as we're going along, as well as maybe leave a little time open at the end if we have it for some broader questions. Okay.
A nice long list of people there.
Fantastic to see. Fantastic to see everybody. It says my screen is showing, and if you can't see anything that we're talking about, please let me know. I'd rather make sure that we've got everybody on board, not only seeing and hearing what's going on. So if we have any technical difficulties along the way, please be sure to shout. And it looks like we've got both sound and audio. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Okay, so here we are inside ZebraZapps PRO, and you won't notice that there are immediately too many differences apparent. We actually have a project running. There's maybe just a couple of indicators across the top if you haven't been inside Zebra for a little bit that would tip you off that why this is the Pro version of our tool. There are a lot of new features, and probably more than we could cover in an hour's worth of time. So we're just going to stick to some of the big key components that make up the professional version of Zebra.
Some of the core stuff.
The meat of it.
The meat of it. All right.
So the first question that I want to ask is, what is event flow? Well, if you've been using Zebra for a while now, when you get started in a brand new project, you're presented with a white stage and a backstage. So we've got a white space which the users see, and the gray space where you can leave all sorts of wiring and extra objects to come on and off the screen. As we move to
and you can do a lot of stuff in that, right? So
oh, absolutely.
You could create a whole module of instruction, no problem.
And of significant length too. You can use tools like the arena to house lots and lots of content. You can bring arenas on and off the stage. So that's not to say that the creator and having just a single event isn't a very powerful tool.
So you could do everything in a single event, from like a PowerPoint display with 100 pages to a simulation or a quiz.
Absolutely.
All could be done in that. One of the disadvantages of doing that, though, is that when it's going to run, it all has to load before you get started.
Right.
So you don't want to put a lot of really heavy stuff in there, because I don't know what the maximum it would be, and I don't think we're not talking about 20 minutes or anything like that, you know. But you could probably bog it down to half a minute or so if you put too much stuff in there.
So the professional version of our tool allows you to string together multiple events in a single project. So you have multiple stages which have multiple backstages, their own space, and they can be strung together. And as you were saying before, maybe one of the limitations with Creator is the more and more content that you might plug into it, you know, eventually you're going to ask your learner to download gigabytes worth of stuff, and that's just too much for a single experience. So with multiple events, not only do you get more space to work with, but that space can be defined and self-contained, so you can start to think about designing learning events that are in bite-sized or larger chunks of content and experience, and then string them together.
We don't get master pages, so either in Creator, right? And
right.
I got to say, it's one of my favorite things about Pro is these master pages that are so much more than just a background.
So master pages, and please let me know if other people are having audio issues. Master pages allow you to start to think about, easily skinning your application so that you've got consistent look and feel across multiple events. And so, by saying I want to apply, say, navigation and our corporate logo and a bit of a consistent look and feel across multiple events, master pages are a fast way to start applying those things. And around the screen here, our logo and the name here at the top and this nice background that's sitting in here and space for my content area, all those things could be designed and then applied to a learning event via master pages. And it's not just theme and branding. Master pages can hold a significant amount of interactivity. And it could be a complete interaction or a simulation that you want learners to continue to refer back to. It could be a reference section, could be a help section, or it could be an event that you kind of carry with you through multiple hours of experience that you want to continue to refine.
Like for displaying a running score, for example, or your progress through, or obviously navigation buttons is likely to be put on a master page because you want those to just carry through as you go forward.
Exactly. Beyond that, because we now have multiple events, one thing that we're seeing as far as being authors and using the professional version here internally a lot is it's really easy to create an interaction that you want learners to iterate on. So you might tweak the challenge, you might tweak the question, you might tweak the graphics, but you want them to continue to see a similar interaction over and over. So we might think of this very first event as being the template for future events that our learner is going to come to. So you can simply copy an event, replace the content, and do it on and on and on. And all of a sudden now you've got multiple events set up for practice. And the practice not only is going through the interaction, but now tweaking the interaction with different content.
You don't really need to think of it as building a template when you're building your first one, right? Because you don't have to do anything special. But then it just kind of turns out that once you build an interaction, if you would like to use that same structure multiple times, it becomes a template just sort of automatically.
Right. And we have a couple questions about master pages. Might as well just get to them right away.
Sure.
Let's see here as I can maybe make my question space a little bigger. I assume that, here's a question from Martin asking, I assume that master pages can be put in any of the events. And absolutely, master pages can be applied to all of your events, to just a couple events, and we give you lots of masters to work with. So you can vary the experience per event.
That's not just one master per event, but any combination of the masters you've got can be applied to each event.
Right.
I don't think I've ever seen that in another tool, but it's really fun. And we're gonna. I think it's a lot easier to see and understand than it is to explain, actually. So, will we do that?
We'll do that.
Oh, good. All right. All right.
One more question about master pages. Can you put animation or video on a master so that it runs in the background without interrupting any other layers or buttons and that sort of stuff? Yeah, absolutely. And I think the moment that you start playing with the professional version, why that's one of the things that you'll be running out to do. One of the other big features that you get with Pro is the ability to do some pretty fantastic dynamic branching. And I'll bring my illustration here a little bit more to life. If you can imagine that you're practicing and you're going through a couple of question types or simulations or that sort of thing, and you get pretty proficient at it, with the professional version of Zebra, we can do some very cool dynamic branching that says, yep, you've got the concept, you got it in event number 1, you got it in event number 2, we're going to just push you now right on to the end. And we can set up some branching so that learners skip to what's really important to them.
I love it. I'm unbiased. I love it.
Let's see.
Okay.
Okay, so let's jump out and start taking a look at how this application, our presentation, was built, and we'll take a look at a few of the features of ZebraZapps PRO.
There's a new icon up there on the upper left.
Right. So one of the things that you might have mentioned, that just to tip you off to know that you're in Pro, is we do have an LMS object that's handy across all the different events, as well as this button here in the upper left-hand corner. And the tooltip, of course, says Event Flow. Go ahead and give it a push.
And it glides in place. I love that.
So now we're kind of at the top level view of this application. And there's some pretty neat things about it. One of the first things, just to get us talking, I'm going to turn off the message centers here for a second. So what we're looking at here is we've got a slider across the bottom, and I've got several events. Actually, I have 3 events in this application, and I've used 10 master pages. And we can scroll through all of our content by grabbing the event flow slider down here at the bottom, and we can drag it either left or right. So now I'm looking at event number 3 and event number 2 at the same time. And we can slide this back the other way. Now I'm looking at event number 1 and event number 2. And then all these darker gray elongated rectangles across the bottom, these refer to all of the different master pages. So master pages are the dark gray, and your events are the light gray on our slider bar. And so I'm just going to start toggling through, and we can see there are lots of different master pages that I could use in this application. Of course, I built all these really quickly, and they're used in just this case. I've got a lot of background master pages set up so that I can display content on it.
So we see that they're background because at the top it says background, right?
Right.
So background masters are literally all their content, it slips in behind the things that you put in an event, right? But you can have a foreground master, and here are some foregrounds, and the content of those sits on top of anything. So if you want to slide things away underneath, you put it in a foreground master, kind of a mask, and then you can animate things and events behind it.
Right.
And so we can look at any any master and any event at the same time, right?
Right. Before I was pulling just the top slider bar across, and you were noticing that the events and master pages were sliding in right on top of each other.
I don't know how smooth that is on is it GoToMeeting?
Yep.
Yeah. But they're really scooting on the screen.
But I can also divide my slider up. So as you were saying, I can look at any 2 combinations of things. I can look at a master and an event, or I can look at any 2 events, even if they're not right next to each other in order. So let's take, for example, here I've got a foreground master which includes forward and backward buttons. And if I go ahead and I start pulling this across, now I'm looking at the first event, and I'm still looking at the foreground master, which is letter number I, and we can move across here and see that in my second event, I had this very foreground master applied because I've got the same navigation button sitting down here at the bottom. Should we take a look at how you can apply and remove masters?
I think so too, because there's those mysterious little rectangles up at the top. I want to know what those do.
Sure. So these guys here at the very top are a representation of all the master pages that I've got in my application. And the bigger squares, notice I've got big squares over here, I've got 2 little squares over here. The big squares represent master pages that are in use. So I've created a master, I've put some content on it.
That are not blank.
Right, they're not blank.
They're not necessarily in use, but there's just no content in them, so they're still available for development.
So I could have an additional 2 masters, up to 12 total master pages in my application. So if I wanted to, I've got 3 master pages applied, and I know that I've got master pages applied because the rectangles here are filled in with this lighter blue. And I could take things away. Let's take away, I believe this is the logo and the wording up here.
We could just strip this event from all its masters, right?
Sure.
See what's in it.
So now we're down just to the bare bone contents of what we were looking at. And we can even jump right in. And you can see that I'm now inside that event, and it should look just like, well, if you had been using the creator version, there's really not much change when you're inside a particular event. Other than we've got these wire boards on either side of the event. And this is how we do some of that dynamic branching, as well as carry over information between different events.
So events can talk to each other, and even objects in events can talk to objects in other events.
Absolutely. So here you can see that my buttons are all within this current event. And as you can now see that we removed all of those master pages from it. So I could jump back out to Event Flow View and take a look at all the different masters that I have to work with. So I can flip through, got a couple of different layouts for backgrounds, and I've got buttons that I could apply across the bottom, navigation buttons, and a progress bar.
We can do this in two ways, then, right? We can use the slider and see full screen on the left stack, or we can just roll over those little rectangles for a preview of what that event would look like if that master were applied to it.
Sure.
And if we wanted to apply it, we just click it, right?
Right. So let's choose, we choose this darker one. Say I want to apply the first master, master slide A, and I might want to include my logo and maybe some buttons. And if I wanted, I could put on one of the progress bar.
Yeah. Do we have questions?
We do have some questions. Can you tell us what you are defining as an event?
Oh. No. I flip it really, but the reason that you can't is because it's what you decide to make it.
Right.
Right. So you could at the extreme end, which of course we would discourage, think of an event as a page or a slide and a slide deck, right? So you could have a whole god of these events, and they're really just pages that you're going to create. So if you want to use this just for a presentation, it's a really nice structure for that, and you can flip through your presentation, see before and after slides very nicely. And by the way, this all resizes depending on the size of your screen and the window, but they get as big as they can. You've actually manually shut your size down a little bit here, but on the other extreme, an event, because it's just like a creator stage, you can put as much material as you want to in it. So it's for your convenience in authoring, basically. You can create full simulations. You could put a whole quiz into one event, or you could separate each question from a quiz across events. The learner or the end user won't really know the difference. It doesn't really make any difference in how it works. But you do have nice transition effects that you can apply. And we mentioned before that in speed of loading, you might prefer to separate things across events so that it's snappier to begin with.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So I think really we can't almost define an event because it really is just an empty cell stage for you to define.
Right, and you could think of it as complete applications. I mean, you could go to the full length of saying that I've got 30 full applications inside my single ZebraZapps PRO project, and you're just moving from application to application. So you could the first event could be the complete catalog of your learning material.
Yep.
Okay, maybe a couple other questions here. Let's see, Eric's asking, is there some sort of counter mechanism so that learners would know how many things that they've completed and how much is yet to go? Really easy to do, and there are, I can think of multiple ways that you could start building a structure like that. The project message center here at the top, and let's make sure that I'm at the right view length. Well, we've got I know why. I've got my wiring level. Oh. Hiding message centers. So we'll go ahead and open this up. The project message center here at the top allows you to choose what event learners start on. So you might not even have them start on event number 1. They might go someplace special. But it does count how many events are in the project as well as what event number you're currently in. So there's a way to take either the name of the event that you're in or the event number that you're in and build yourself a little progress bar so that they know what has and hasn't been completed. Zebra is also smart enough to know whether or not that there is an event after the one that you're currently in or before the one that you're currently in. And it just says true or false, and there's a bazillion ways that you can wire this up in event. Easy for creating forward and back buttons that are smart enough to know, well, there's no forward for me to go to, so I don't need to show the next button. Or this is the very first event, there's no need to show the previous button. So the next thing I kind of wanted to take a look at is, so I've got 3 events in my project. Are they stuck in this order, 1, 2, 3, and how do I create a brand new event? So I thought we would, let's do that now. Up here at the top, you'll find a couple plus buttons, and this is on either side. I can hide my toolbox here for a second. There's a plus button that adds an event before this one, or a plus button here that adds an event after this one, and the same here. So the plus buttons relate to where in the stack of things you're going to insert the new event. And I might even just say I'm going to add my next event, so event number 4. We'll do that right here. And
it picked up the masters from the event preceding it, right?
Right.
It's just a speed convenience.
And I can toggle or turn any of those things on or off as I'd like, completely independent of the one before. So I may turn my branding back on here and so forth. So I have a new event, and we could just jump right into it. And of course, like any other Zebra app that you've played with in the creator version, you can immediately start, building interactivity right on this page. Wiring just as before. And of course, it's immediately interactive. So we can imagine that we built something really pretty fantastic right there, and jump back to event flow view. Oh, okay, so now we've decided we've got this pretty cool event, and we've got now 4 events, but maybe whatever is on this page should come before event number 3. I can simply point and click anywhere on this event up here, and I get a little thumbnail. You can even see that it's got the content without the master page applied to it. It really does help know what I have grabbed. And then down at the very bottom, you can see the slider bar is active, and I get that green little caret down at the bottom that says, when I let go, this is where I'm going to insert event number 4, which now if I let go right here, would become event number 2. And I can do that over and over, so we can really do a lot with rearranging the order in which content would appear.
That's too easy.
Too easy.
It's got to be harder than that.
Another thing that was really asked for in the creator version was a way to link things together without using like the page number.
Oh yeah.
So events themselves can be renamed through the message center here down at the bottom. We could call this our simulation. Sorry for that. So now this event carries the name simulation. And let's create a new master page and we'll put one button on that to navigate to our brand new simulation. So I'm going to take my slider here and I'm going to divide things up, and I'm going to go back to some of my other master pages, and let's add a Foreground Master here at the end. So this is our Foreground Master. So if it's applied to any event, it would sit on top of that content. And let's just go in and add a button.
So Master K.
And so I'll just make a really easy button, and we might say go to simulation. Okay, so now when I press this button, no matter what event I'm in, I want to go to that event, which is the simulation event. And I'm going to do that when my user presses the button. I'm going to click and drag to create a wire and bring that up to the project message center. And under properties, I'm going to change what the current event is. And so, it's a funny turn of phrase. I'm going to change the current event. Okay, so we'll go ahead and just let go right here on top of this ribbon. It makes a setter, just as before. And now all I need to do is inside the project message center say that when I press this button, I'm going to go to the simulation event. So let's jump out back to event flow. And
I'm going to put that button on some other events.
Yeah, let's put that this go to simulation button on. We might even just do it on the very first event.
And another one too.
Sure. And on this guy too, which is really great. So now I think one of the most powerful things about event flow and master pages in this preview across the top is I've made just a real quick change, and by applying this master page, Master K, which has our button in it, I can instantly see how it would look inside my event and know that it's now just going to add that additional functionality to whatever I had previously created. So let's go ahead and run it from the beginning.
Can I say holy moly?
Sure.
Holy moly. I just love that.
And let me zoom out here just a little bit more. I've got a...
Just makes you feel so powerful, and you can do this stuff so fast. I just think it's cool. Okay.
Okay, so now we're here on the very first event, which has our brand new button, which goes to the simulation event. And when I press it, it's going to load up that brand new event, and here it is.
Jeez.
Running right away. And you might have noticed that it was really snappy in the way that it switched between events.
Mm-hmm.
So in no time, one of the first things that I realized when I had event flow in my hands was how quickly I could create a branded background and a look and a feel, multiple layouts, as well as entire app navigation, and then just get going. And then you can take that, and the next project that you open up, you can use this same content across multiple projects. And of course, one of the new fun features inside the professional version of Zebra is I can now share this project with anybody, and they essentially now get a completed template, which includes all the branding, it includes all the navigation, interaction, and wiring that I've set up, and then all they have to do is just jump right into an event and start building right away.
So you can have multiple authors working on something that's going to become a bigger whole, and have a very consistent look because everybody's sharing the same set of masters.
Right.
Right?
And Matthew is asking, is it possible to randomize, he says pages, but I'm going to assume he means events, randomize a series of events so that the experience is different every time you come in?
Sure.
No problem. Let's see if there are any other questions. Take a look at. Let's see. Joey is asking, can two projects be created and can they be combined together at a later stage? Maybe 2 months ago, we gave an internal presentation here at Allen Interactions, and of course with all the ZebraZapps folks, and we had, what do we have, six different people authoring and building things inside the Pro version of Zebra. And one of us was in charge of building the templates, all the master pages and all the navigation and that sort of stuff. But then each of us had a very unique event that we were building, or actually a series of events. And it was really easy for us to then share that project with the first person who had created the master, and they just copied and pasted all the logic right in from one event to the next event, and boom, we're able to merge work together. So that's not a problem. Let's see. So another number of features that you get with the professional version, of course, the LMS object, which we've talked a little bit about in past webinars, sits up here at the very top, and I better go back to the right zoom level there so we can all see, maybe get zoomed in. The LMS object and publishing with ZebraZapps allows you to create a score package. And there's lots of things that we can do with that information. And a lot of it's visible right here under the properties and the values for the LMS object. We can pull from your LMS the ID of the user, the first name, middle name, last name, so that you can customize and personalize the content as they're going through. Really easy to send and retrieve a score in multiple different ways. As well as get their current status in the project, and then read and write those things as they're working. So for one of the big questions, of course, is when you publish an application inside ZebraZapps, it's cloud-based. The cool thing about the package and the way that this all works in conjunction is that you can create a SCORM package, wrap it up, deploy it, and maybe say a week after the course has been deployed, notice that there's maybe a text change that you want to make or a graphic that needs to be updated because a new product rolled out, but essentially the course is the same. You can go back into the ZebraZapps cloud and make those small changes and save it, and the LMS and the package that you created before are all going to it's going to retrieve the same project from the ZebraZapps cloud, and there isn't any disruption. So I talk to a lot of people at different conferences who say, you know, we just create the content and then we either ship it off overseas and someone deploys it in their LMS in India, or, you know, I really don't have control over that, but I really wish I could make these changes. Utilizing the cloud in this way is a big cost saver. Let's see. Martin is asking what version of SCORM our package puts out. We'll be supporting a couple versions, and I actually don't know which versions of SCORM they are.
I never can remember either. It's something 5, right?
Right.
It's not my expertise, but it's you know it's all of the popular ones. I know the last 2, and which we have now, and AICC, and then Tin Can.
Right. In fact, Joe was just asking any thought to Tin Can. At DevLearn, we'll be showing a prototype of Tin Can inside ZebraZapps, and you know, we can't be more excited about the opportunities that the new Tin Can API offers. You know, all the design and development people out there in the e-learning world. We'll be supporting Tin Can with its 1.0 release, but we'll be spending lots of time between now and then prototyping and using it inside Zebra to figure out what its full potential can be. And I think our interface and the way that you create interactivity inside Zebra really does have the potential to really fully expose to lots of people in the e-learning world all of the possibilities with Tin Can.
By the way, we only showed the properties in the LMS, but the ins and outs are kind of interesting too.
Sure.
You know, so yeah.
Yeah, under the ins, we've got an action, so you could wire this to any button or the completion of an event, or you know, actually having answered a quiz question. All you have to do is wire up that action here, and it will send out the learner's current score. You can also nudge their score, increase their score by an amount or decrease it by an amount based on again, completing a simulation, answering a question, and you can wire this up across events.
And then the outputs.
And the outputs, of course, let you know whether or not things have been a success.
Or not.
Well, you're going to design such great stuff inside Zebra, everybody's going to be successful.
No, I mean that just means that the transmission round trip worked, right?
Right.
And that, yeah.
Let's see. Rick has asked a couple of good questions. One of them is multiple users within a single company being set up inside Zebra. Under development, of course, is the ability to tie everybody's account together. With our first release of Zebra, we're not going to be touching that right away, but the cool thing is we're offering our software up, software as a service, so that's an iteration on actually just really paying for your account that will be coming up pretty shortly. You get most of the features that you need out of the gate anyways to collaborate and work together. Let's see.
There was a question there about iPad, and we're really excited about what we're building in that. It is not going to be Flash-based. We do have a demonstration of it working already, and we're using a technology that's very, very platform independent. But when you package, it goes to native code for the delivery device. So it goes to native code for an iPad or Android or any other device, laptop. So we have an intermediate form of the application, and then it gets compiled to native code for delivery in the application. So it runs really fast. It's very fun to show, but it isn't finished yet. So that's why we haven't made any announcements of it. But we have demonstrated it at conferences, and it gets wows everywhere. So we're really excited about that. So while we don't have it right now, we encourage people to go ahead and develop for the current devices that they may have, and that same project will be deliverable. And we're also working the issue of gestures, so that like on the laptop, you have a cursor, and on a pad you don't. So there are different interfaces. You can pinch on an iPad, but you can't pinch on a laptop screen, or most of them. So we're building the mechanisms to give you full control of the gestures as well as devices, so that you can take advantage of camera and the accelerometer and all of those things in those devices as well.
Really a full, not just being developed in native code is, one of the big advantages is, it's going to be snappier when it runs on an iPad. It's not running through some sort of emulator where it's taking a flash course and then forcing it into the iPad. You get that snappy performance, but you also get to be able to take advantage of all the cool things that make your mobile device fun to use.
Right.
And those types of experiences are going to be a lot of fun to think about and develop about. Was just at a mobile learning conference here over the summer where people were starting to pose those types of questions about, where do I put my navigation, because I've got big thumbs and I don't want to cover up my content with moving between screen to screen. So there's tons of stuff that the community is going to be thinking about. Let's see. Pricing. Professional version, when it's released here this fall, is going to go for $39.95 a month per author. And of course that gets you everything here that you see in the professional version, as well as the ability to privately publish your material, essentially hiding it from the shops, locking it down so that you've got your LMS package, and that's the only way people can access it. And of course the ability, if you're not using an LMS, to send it to a private guest list where they have to sign in with their email address. Let's take a look at sharing or we call this transferring a project. It's really copying and sending a version of what you're currently working on. So let's see, if I go up here, I'll do this one more time just so you, now that I explain what we're going to do. If I wanted to send a copy to you of this current project that I'm working on, because it is so fantastic.
It's awesome.
And you're going to want to use all my master pages and everything that I've created.
Yes.
Under the project menu here at the top, you'll find Share Projects. And this brings up a pop-up. And over here on the left-hand side, this is a list of all of my current projects in Professional. And you can see I'm working on a lot of test stuff, so not everything's super interesting.
And you actually have search, so you can search for a title of sure. If you can't remember it exactly, but you can remember a keyword or something.
Or not. So you get your full list there. Just had to wait for it for a second. Okay. So if I wanted to say send this one, I can add it to this list, and here's all the projects that I might want to send. And of course, I can send multiples at the same time. So here would be 5 different projects. There's a Start Transfer button at the bottom, but it needs to know where to go. So if I go up here to the top, I'll just put in my own email.
Send it to me. That's fine.
Okay.
So I do like your masters.
All I have to do is verify that this email address is attached to a person in the system. You'll be able to include your name instead of your display name, and also include the company so that you know you've got the right person. And then you hit Start Transfer, and then it just wants to confirm you want to send these 5 projects. I go ahead and say yes, and off they go. Now, on the other end, the user gets a dialog that pops up and says, so-and-so has sent you 5 project transfer requests. Do you want to accept these projects? So you don't actually have to...
you can't fill up somebody's inbox.
Right.
They have to, and you can select which ones you want, too, so you can be picky about that.
Sure. Another question about the iPad. Does it still require a cloud connection to play? One of the great challenges with delivering content on mobile devices is, well, twofold. How do I then connect my experience, my scores back to the LMS? That's something that the TinCam API is going to solve. So we're really excited about that. The second is we can do some local caching with applications. So say, for example, you had internet connection, you downloaded you grabbed a course that you wanted to go through. We can store several of them, 5 or 6, depending on how big they are, locally on a mobile device, and allow you to connect back with them if you should lose a mobile connection. And that's another cool thing about the opportunities with an API like TinCan, is you can go through the complete course, and then when you do have internet connection again, you can go ahead and send it. So it gives us lots of flexibility.
So you can take them offline.
Yep.
Yep.
Let's see. We are looking at developing some special pricing for educational licenses. Haven't released those numbers yet.
We'd like anybody who's interested in that, though. We'd like to have a conversation because we want to figure out. I heard an interview on NPR about Red Bull the other day, and they were asking I suppose it came up because of that skydiver, number guy, right?
Skydiving from space.
And they were talking with him about creating his company and product, and they asked such questions as, why does it taste so bad, and why is it so expensive? And he said, it's expensive because otherwise how would people know it's a quality product? And that worried me a little bit, because my goal here is to make this really accessible to people, because I just want to see great learning experiences happen. And there aren't enough of them. so I want to learn from people who develop really good ideas about how to help us all learn. And so I don't want anybody to be find price a barrier, And so for educational uses, you know, I really want to find a way to make it really, really practical. But even so, I mean, we've really tried to keep the price just kind of bizarrely low. And I don't want anybody to think that that suggests it's not a quality product, because we're doing our very best to make this absolutely the best technology in the field, you know, by far. Putting millions of dollars into it. So I hope that won't send the wrong message. If it is, I suppose we could raise the price. But
let's see. Another question we can answer. I've got a question about can it be integrated with Captivate? Captivate, Lecture, Articulate, the PC version of PowerPoint. I'll let you create what they call a live web object of some sort so that you can point out to content that's live on the internet. So if you've got courses developed in those tools already, it is possible to embed ZebraZapps applications inside those tools. And we have a couple of tutorials out there on how to do that, and we'll be continuing to do that. Let's see.
Thank you, by the way, for all the compliments that your folks are sending away. It's heartwarming. I really appreciate it. I'm going to tell you, building a product like this is not easy. Many of us have not had a weekend or many evenings off for a few years since we started this project, but it's not a complaint because it's very much labor of love, and we've got just absolutely the best dedicated engineers that are working so hard. But it won't be worth it if it isn't of value to a lot of folks, so we sure hope it will be.
Cool. You know, a number of questions about training and how do I get up to speed on all the things that are happening inside Zebra. We're actively working with the Allen Interaction Studios to build training material on ZebraZapps in ZebraZapps.
You'd think they'd be able to do a good job, wouldn't you?
So I'm excited to start releasing that material as we release the professional version. Let's see, we've got you know, fantastic folks like Joe Gansey hard at work putting together book material. So you've got offline material that you can, when you don't have internet connection with any device, as well as it, you know, for a lot of people who really do enjoy having the manual and the tips and all the additional commentary that go with learning a tool like ZebraZapps. So look for that in the near future. Let's see. Just kind of reading through the last bit of questions here. There's a few questions here about bringing in XML. I would look for that sometime after we release the professional version. We're actively looking at a number of ways to bring in, say, for example, multiple languages into the same application that you built, so you don't have to essentially make another copy and redo the text. That's a high priority on our list, and we'll be tackling that one very soon. Looks like that just about wraps up any questions. I'm sorry if I missed one. It's a little difficult to read through all of the great comments here that we've gotten and fantastic questions, but certainly I'm if you do have a question here, let me see, I can send this to everybody. Happy to answer questions offline, and you should have actually gotten this email invite from me, but if you'd like to ask me a question offline through the chat window, you can reach me there. That's my email address, and you can reach me on Twitter. Right there. Let's see.
I don't understand that question.
Let's see. Rich has asked a question. Can the question be offset in the shops? Oh, right. Let's see. You can sell the material that you build inside ZebraZapps and share it for free with other users. And so things like gadgets and long-term, the templates and things and projects and stuff that you create inside ZebraZapps. Because we've got this great cloud-based technology and we're utilizing a storefront so that you can not only sell the completed apps that you build, but also the components that you use to build them, I expect lots of people to be zero cost and actually making some fine livings on building interactive material inside Zebra and sharing and selling with others. I hope that answers that question.
So the offset, so can you have income to offset your subscription?
Yes.
Right? Then, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, right.
Well, we've gone past our 45 minutes. I really do appreciate everybody coming to take a look. There's, of course, lots of stuff that we really didn't dive into, but we're going to be creating a series of these to talk about all the new features which are inside Pro and continue to work with everybody who's been so patient with us as we've been building this and letting you in on little bits more as we get closer and closer to the release. So thanks everybody for attending, and I'll just...
Aren't you supposed to say something like, don't drive like my brother? And, well, no, that's the tablet.
Well, I don't have a brother.
That's the whole problem right there. You say don't drive like my sister.
Yes, and we will be at DevLearn here coming up at the end of the month, and expect more great things there. So thanks everybody, and look forward to talking to you more.
And see you at DevLearn, I hope.